content over everything.
Hello everyone. I've got some very sincere thoughts, some of which I've recorded. I doubt if I'll end up saving the world, but I'd like to save some of our experts from mistakes, our budding experts, various aspects of up there, science, out in space. But let's get close to Earth first. Let us look around us, and what do we see? We see a dimension. We see one dimension, and to achieve anywhere in that dimension, 3 directions. Up, down, left, right, in and out. If you counted those, you might think 6. I say there were 3 directions, each one with a positive and a negative. I'm defining them as a positive at this stage because there's more to come later on which demands this to explain the nature of things out there. So in the same way we have 3 directions in space, or a spatial area, which I call one dimension with 3 directions, is time along the same lines. Is time made up of subgroups, possibly 2 or 3 subgroups, in the same way that our spatial dimension is one made of 3 subgroups of directions. If we take our well-known time dimension or direction, it's a timeline, the future and the past, and it's considered to be in a straight line, one axis, in the same way that our spatial dimension has 3 axes. Has time got more than 1? It'll be nice to think of it as 3. It'll be nice that if there was a magic 3 where everything as a dimension had 3 directions. I doubt if that is the case. But I feel, and experts should think on it, don't have the Father Christmas complex, don't have the Father Christmas syndrome. When you see the timeline, to answer questions, don't consider it as a rod. Consider it with 3 directions, potentially. We can certainly see a second one around the corner. So often now scientists will say there's a particle which can be in 2 places at the same time. I believe it's a proton they talk of. How is it that one item can be in 2 places at the same time? If we've got more than one axis to time, easy peasy. Yes, that's simple. If the axis of the second axis of direction for time crosses it at right angles, then we've now got the capacity for a particle to be on the right side and the left side of the timeline at the same time, because it will be on this second axis. It's a simple solution to the question, how can a particle be in 2 places at the same time? It is in the timeline at one time, but it's on the second axis in 2 times in those directions. Is there a magic 3? It'd be interesting if it was. I wouldn't put odds on this, but I would like to think that it's possible we got our definitions of dimensions wrong. I see that all dimensions are made of subgroups. Think of the game of tennis. Game, set, match. So many games make a set, so many sets make a match. Subgroups making a match. If we now think of our match as the equivalent to a dimension, and so many sets as a subgroup of dimension, it seems logical or ability to do the same without dimensions. So the next thought is, I'm going to sneak one in here, is there a third direction to time? If we look at around us, what can we see that could fit that bill? If I had a little item like so, and dropped it, it would fall to the floor. It would fall to the floor because of gravity. It would get there by accelerating. When it's at this level, it's stationary. When you let it go, it accelerates. It doesn't achieve a velocity instantaneously, it accelerates to achieve a velocity. Einstein described this acceleration as a rather beautiful thing. It describes gravity beautifully. Some scientists say gravity is like a magnetic force and it's in acceleration. But mathematically, gravity is the rate of change, can be described as the rate of change of velocity with respect to time. Rather, that's the definition for acceleration. But that is the definition we've got to look at. If gravity is in fact a factor of time, namely the rate of change of velocity with respect to time, it is a time function. If it is a time function, is it the direction of time? So does that make our third direction to time? I wouldn't put money on that, but I do, as I say, believe you get subgroups. And if you understand what dimensions really should be defined as, I think it's going to be a key to finding more, to finding if there are indeed 11 in the old system, or if there's more, or if there's less. If we look at what that gentleman who just passed away, he brought in the string theory, looked in multiple universes. The number of universes in multiples, they would be more than 3. So that knocks the magic 3 out the window in this context. But each one of those universes would be a different dimension, a different direction, sorry, to the dimension of these multiple universes. Now, I believe in the theory of keys. I've skipped straight to this one. The key to finding and understanding dimensions is to recognize them, I believe, as subgroups. I mentioned the game of tennis. So many sets make a match. Does a match end there in tennis? You can get a, what's the word? It's several matches, it's a championship. If you win certain games of tennis, you get a championship. Now, going back to the analogy of dimensions, is the dimension the be all and end all, or can you get effectively a championship? So if you get several games, you've got a championship. I leave you to your scientists to explore and define gravity. But at the moment, I think you've got it wrong. Thank you all. Bye.
Every Content over everything. From your melody.
Come, man, say it straight. Man, don't listen to BBC. Man, don't listen to ITV. Listen. Man, don't listen
Hello.
to BBC. Man, don't listen to ITV.
Hello, America.
Man, don't even listen to Sky YG.
Possibly one or more two countries to join in.
Man, don't listen to ITV. I don't even listen to Sky YG.
Are you ready?
Man, just listen to
Hello, America. My compliments on your space shuttle, but I'm afraid I think you've got one little bit wrong. It's not a practical means, a cheap means of getting things into space. My background is one of production engineering, and we have a saying in engineering: material handling adds to the cost, but nothing to the quality. So, bearing this in mind, one more clue of what I'm going to say. Imagine being at a quayside and seeing a ship come in. A ship delivering goodies. It unloads its cargo